to show you an example of a magnet summary. So this is a text that was pulled out of a science book. It's about glaciers. If you want, you can pass it around.
Oh, I can read this one.
Yeah, you might recognize it. So it's about glaciers. What was done? The text was broken up into sections. So you have your introduction. Then you have the first part, which is called the kinds of glaciers. Then you move on to your second part, labeled ice ages. Then you move on to how glaciers form and move, and so on. So what happens in this case would be that everybody would be assigned a little section to read on their own. And then based on the section that they read, they would make a magnet summary. So for example, this is based off of the first part, kinds of glaciers, right? My magnet word would be glaciers because that's the topic of what I'm talking about. Now in the 4 corners, I chose 4 keywords. Bless you, Alexis.
Thank you.
I chose 4 keywords that I found in this little section that I read. So the 4 keywords were valley glacier, continental glacier, massive ice, and move slowly. So those are like the 4 keywords that I took from this small section.
The ones that are bold?
Not necessarily. Some of them are the ones that are bold. Like move slowly wasn't bolded, but I thought that was really important.
Keywords?
As far as like what they were saying. Yeah. Yes. Alright. So that's just an example of what we're going to do. Then in the back, all I did in 2 sentences was summarize the little text that I read using the 4 keywords. So I'm going to go and read that to you. Glaciers are large masses of ice that move slowly over land. Those are continental glaciers. Or in between mountain valleys, and those are valley glaciers. They can spread for millions of kilometers and can be 2 kilometers thick. So those are the important details that I chose out of the small text that I wrote. Did you have a question, Ashley?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Do we have to copy it like straight out of the text?
No. So when you summarize, you want to make sure that's a really good question. That you're not copying it word for word, because if we're copying it word for word, that means that we have to use quotations, right?
And a citation.
Yes, and a citation. In this case, we're summarizing, so make sure that you use your own words, okay? And just like I said, I just used like a sentence or 2, right? Because this was a pretty small section. Okay. Any questions so far? This is just an example of a past one that we did. Okay.
Hey, what is this?
Yes, Alexis.
Okay, are we sharing it to the class? Like to the students?
No, this is just between us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. So now we're going to look at the actual text that we're going to read today. What we're going to do first is we're going to go through a chapter walk. Has anybody done a chapter walk before? Like before you start?
Or
Like,
you just skim the thing.
yeah. What else
Oh,
do
yeah.
you do other than skimming? And this usually happens like when you start a new lesson, like for science,
You
for social
read the
studies.
title and you predict what's gonna happen.
We're looking at titles. We're looking at pictures. Just
Oh, that's what I
the
do when you
titles.
look at a new book.
Yes, we're skimming. We're just looking up the pictures. Make sure that you're reading the captions so that you actually know what the picture is about.
I just read the back.
We're looking at some of the subheadings. Yeah, we all have the same picture. We all have the same subheadings.
Is this like a fish? That's a lead pencil.
It might be. Do you want to read the caption?
Where lead pencil where? Oh, it's a zoo planter.
So right now you're just interacting with the text. You're familiarizing yourself with it.
That is a the toilet paper roll.
So Sari, it looks like this caption says, this image shows zooplankton that has swallowed polyesterine beads, and the beads glow green. Yes.
Which one?
You don't have to know exactly what that means. We're just previewing the text right now.
It means like science. You know those glow in the dark beads?
Yeah.
It swallowed them and now it's inside.
So they killed him? Because it's dead? So they just opened inside him and they saw what's...
They probably use some type of like
Technology.
yeah, some technology to kind of like see
But
like,
zooplankton
and some type of
looks
X-ray.
But it looks dead.
And if you
That's a
notice in the
fish.
back,
It looks
easy
like
pieces,
fish.
in the back of the text, there's actually a glossary. So we're gonna encounter a lot of big words, just like polychlorinated by phenolus, right? So we're gonna look at a few of those words before we even go into the reading. But so far, what do you think the text is gonna be about? Just from what you're looking at. Okay, so fish.
About
Okay.
trash.
Plastic, yeah.
Fish, trash,
Big
Alexis.
Literally.
Like sea animals are dying.
Or
How
pollution.
animals are dying. Okay.
What's the difference between littering and
Pollution. Pollution is like when
It's
you're-
like littering is pollution because when you litter, you do pollution.
Yeah. So the more you litter, the more likely that like pollution will occur.
Oh.
pollution
like
is
how
like
you're looking
carbon
at those two.
dioxide in the air.
Already,
Pollution is bad.
it's very bad. Yeah, if you can just enter silently, that would be awesome. Thank you. Okay. So, can anybody tell me, as far as the pictures go?
Oh,
What do
it
you
shows
see?
how pollution affects the animals.
In the
How it
ocean.
looks after we pollute, and like I guess this is
Yeah.
like a diagram of the
It
pollution.
If
just shows-
everybody can turn to this page really quickly, I just want to read the caption to this picture before we even go into our reading.
Can I read it?
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you for participating. So, go ahead. Read it.
Scientists found 47 pieces of plastic in the stomach of this triggerfish. It had been caught near the surface in the North Atlantic subtropical year.
Thank you. So, you see that little dish that he's carrying and all those little pieces of plastic?
They look like those confetti.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
they
I was
also,
gonna say.
they're so small, right? They're broken down into such small pieces. That was found in the fish. So we're gonna
So it
go
ate it?
we're gonna go into this a little bit more. So we're gonna start
What's that?
actually reading our text.
They were gonna cook them. Look at they put it on the chopping board.
All right. So, like I said, team, today we're going to read this article by breaking it apart. And we're each going to make our own magnet summaries so that in the end, we're going to, in order, read our magnet summaries so that we can get a full summary of what the whole article was about without each of us individually like reading all of it. Because as you can see, the text is a little bit long. Yeah, the text is kind of long. So we're going to work as a team to break it down and just summarize it. Okay?
So just one page summarize.
Yes.
The one whole page read?
I'm going to break it down in just a second. I just want to read the introduction with you so that we can then go into the text. All right. So, Sunny, can you read the title for us, please?
Tiny plastic big problem. Our environmental.
Yeah. Go ahead and then go ahead and read what.
Scientists find that tiny pieces of plastic travel great distances, threatening the ocean ecosystem.
Would you mind reading the caption, please, Ashley?
What's that?
The caption.
Pieces of plastic float here in ocean water. This pollution is a growing problem, and not just because it's ugly. Plastic can kill many kinds of marine life.
So already our caption in the beginning is already kind of telling us that what we said was true, right? It is going to be about trash. It is going to be about fish. It is going to be about the harming of animals in the ocean. Okay. Alexis, go ahead and read that first paragraph. So we're going to read the introduction together, and then we're gonna break up the article so that we can each summarize our little piece. Okay. All right, Alexis.
Plastic bottles lining the gutter. Bags tangled in branches. Food wrappers gulping across the ground on a windy day. Although such examples of litter easily come to mind, they only hint at serious and growing problems of plastic pollution, a problem most hidden from view.
Thank you, Alexis. The problem with plastics is they do not easily degrade.
I know this. The glass takes about. What did she say? The plastic takes about like 250 years.
Sari, thank you for bringing that up. Go ahead. You can pick up your highlighters. Make sure that you're highlighting any important piece of information. It's always good to annotate whatever you're reading, just so that you can go back and look at the important details. So, they may break down, but only into smaller pieces. The smaller those pieces get, the more places they can go. Ita, would you mind reading that next paragraph?
Many pieces wind up at sea. Tiny bits of plastic float throughout the world's oceans. They wash up on remote islands. They collect and sea ice thousands of miles from the nearest city. They even melt with rock, creating a whole new material. Some scientists have proposed calling it plas, plas, plasticlomer.
Really close. Plastic glomerate.
Plasticlomer.
You pretty much got it spot on. Exactly how much plastic is out there remains a mystery. Scientists are hard at work trying to find out. So far, though, as experts haven't found as much plastic floating in the oceans as they expected. All that missing plastic is worrisome, because the smaller a plastic bit becomes, the more likely it will make its way into a living thing, just like we saw that fish, whether a tiny plankton or an enormous whale. And that may spell some real trouble. Like I said, Aid has a lot of things she's highlighted, so does Alexis. Alright, let's quickly look at the back of our summary before we start writing our first magnet summary. I'm sorry, the back of the article. So I just want to look at a few words before we start actually going into like the meat of this.
Where's that?
Oh, that's just an extra crossword puzzle that you can do.
What is?
Okay. So we have the word degrade, and we know what that. Do we know what that?
Yeah, to break down.
To break down. So to break down a compound into smaller components. We also have.
Whoa, that's a big word.
DDT.
No, this one short for Zawa.
We also have plastic glomerate, and that's actually on the second page. That is a name some scientists have proposed for a category of rock that's created when plastic melts and fuses with chunks of stone, shell, and other materials to create a long-lasting record of human pollution. So it's pretty much like plastic combined with rock and then becoming one.
My highlighter doesn't work.
Oh no, is it running low? Here you go. You can use this one.
Yay.
3 words down is polyethylene, and I hope I said that correctly.
Yeah.
It's a plastic made from chemicals that have been refined or produced from crude oil or natural gas. And this is the most common plastic in the world. It's flexible and tough.
Which one?
Polyethylene. Polyethylene. Okay. Alright. So before we go into our individual magnet summaries, I actually want to do one together. Okay? So go ahead and take one index card. Whatever. Oh. I don't think there's anything wrong with Alexis having pink.
Because you're memory pink.
Exactly. And colors don't have a gender, right?
They're,
Even though people put genders to them.
Mhm.
But it's not true. Okay.
They're unisexual.
Especially like blue, green, and red.
So. Where did the rest go? Oh, okay. Our magnet word is going to be pollution. So this is the word that we're going to write right in the middle. As we're reading, make sure that you're looking for just keywords. You're just looking for keywords. And these keywords, like I showed you earlier, are going to go in these 4 corners. Oh, that's fine. You're fine. So these 4 words are going to go where, Alexis? These 4 keywords that we're looking for? The 4 corners, yes. So this is the one that we're going to do together, okay? So, we're going to go ahead and just read in the circle, okay? So I'm going to start.
Where are we starting? We're here.
So we're looking at the first page. I want you to actually take your highlighter and I want you to highlight the subheadings. So we're going to highlight into the soup. This is